Hi, I'm Patrick James, and this is the TSFC Insider. With me today is John Theo, the director of our latest short film featured on the shortfilmcollective.com website. John is, and the film is titled
Idiocies.
Idiocies, yes. John is a graduate of Lipscomb University in Nashville, Tennessee.
Woof.
He has a BFA in cinematography and film/video production. And if you don't mind, just tell us a little more about yourself and what led you to pursue film.
In general?
Yeah.
I've always been a really technical person, into like techie things and technology, but I was also a really big reader. And in high school, I got into photography, like stills photography, really, really heavy. I was like shooting on film. It was back when Urban Outfitters first released the like miniature Instax cameras,
Yeah.
and everyone was obsessed with the like instant camera stuff. And I'm from Houston, from the suburbs, and you know, it looks like a suburb, but all of my like photography icons on like super early Instagram were based in Seattle.
Okay.
So their photography was really like on a hike with like foggy pine trees and like rain.
Nice.
And I was just obsessed with that. I don't know why. And in like suburban Houston, Texas, I'm like looking for undeveloped plots of land when it's foggy to take photos, telling myself that it's like practice and composition, but really I'm just trying to look like I live in Seattle.
Yeah.
Which I've never even visited Seattle. Anyway, I got really into photography in high school, was really into technical stuff and a big reader. And I don't know, I just kind of stumbled into really loving movies. I don't really have an exact moment of when I decided that I wanted to try and start making them. But I'm in really deep now.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird. I think about it a lot, actually. Not because people ask me, but just because I'm neurotic. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I wish, I really want like an exact moment, you know, like I watched this movie and I just knew then and there that like, that's what I wanted to do. I don't really have that. I just kind of like got lost down this really weird convergence of paths, and I ended up trying to make movies.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I know from looking at your Instagram, like you have these snapshots that all your snapshots belong in a film.
Oh, thanks.
That guy playing the saxophone.
Yeah. yeah.
I'm like, what film is this?
In Mexico, yeah.
I mean, 5 seconds, and I'm like, I want this world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That
Thank you. That's sweet.
the one We Are Tundra with the lights.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to know. Tell me where we are right now. You know. So there's really cool moments on there, and I was like, yeah, this is a filmmaker. Like, this is somebody who sees a moment and is like, you know, it seems like almost like Ingmar Bergman or something, which I thought happened in this film. I won't go, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But it seems like you take snapshots with your mind a little bit,
Yeah.
which I love. I'm like that too.
Yeah, for better or worse, sometimes it becomes like obsessive, and I think that there's an entire story inside of one moment, and it's like not possible.
Yeah.
But thank you, that's really kind of you.
I mean, you know, it's.
I really liked that saxophone guy. I talked to him.
Did you?
Yeah.
I
He
thought that was
like,
cool.
high out of his mind. Saying I talked to him is generous.
Oh,
I talked at him.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, hey, listen. I mean, these are the experiences we get in like art life. It's like, you know, sometimes it's because we chose, you know, this life that we end up running into things that perfectly work for what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like comedians have stories that no one else has because they're like lined up for it. That's how I look at it. So, okay. Well, I'm going to go into, I guess what I'd consider our icebreaker.
Okay.
So name your top 3 films.
Oh.
And what do you think that these films have to say about you or to you as a filmmaker?
Oh man, I could take all night. I don't really have a top 3 like
Okay.
sitting ready. It might be my top 3 like at the moment. Um, wow. It's that thing, man. People are like, "You're in movies. What's your favorite movie?"
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
I can't even think of one movie
I get it.
that exists. I'm like Megamind, like
I love Megamind.
Despicable Me, like
Despicable Me. Let's
Cars
go.
2, like
Let's go. Let's go.
man. Let me think.
I looked up icebreakers and they said the first thing they were like, "What's your favorite cartoon character?" And I was like, "I'm not asking that."
I'm in prep for another film right now, actually. So I've been rewatching a specific block of kinds of movies. So I'm just gonna go from that.
Okay.
I recently rewatched a film called Carnal Knowledge by Mike Nichols.
Okay.
With Jack Nicholson and Art Garfunkel. They're like sex addict college kids. It's kind of about like what dudes say about women when women aren't around. But it's directed by a comedian, so it's really interesting. So I rewatched that film and I liked it a lot again. I rewatched a French film called The Lovers on the Bridge by Leos Carax, I think is how you say his name.
Okay.
That's a really good film about like drug addict, homeless people that live on the Pont Neuf Bridge in Paris while it's being fixed, like it's under construction. Apparently, I think I read somewhere that it was the most expensive French film ever made because they actually shot on the bridge. They actually shut it down and it's the most famous bridge in Paris. It's really weird and abstract and kind of gnarly.
Cool.
Did you watch a film that Adam Driver was in recently that was called either Annabelle or Anna?
I know about Annabelle, but I didn't watch it.
I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, it's that director.
Okay.
He also Anna, I don't know, something with an A.
Didn't it have
Marion
It's a horror
Cotillard
film?
was in it. No, it was
Oh.
just it's like it was ended up being like half musical, half horrible film. Adam Driver plays this like comedian who rides motorcycles, and like their daughter is a marionette doll.
Oh shoot.
It was really bad. But it's that director.
Okay.
Leos Carax is his name. I rewatched that and Lovers on the Bridge, and that one was Annette.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. No, I didn't watch
It's like 3 hours, and don't. If you didn't watch it, don't.
Sometimes it's good to watch bad stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
but not like that.
They broke in a song anyway, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
nah, it was...
Okay.
The opening sequence was really cool because it was like really meta, and like
Yeah.
Adam Driver singing is always entertaining,
Right.
but then it just...
Yeah.
don't watch it. One more film. I don't want this to take too long.
Okay.
You mentioned Bergman earlier. I rewatched, or no, I didn't rewatch. I watched for the first time a movie of his I had never seen called The Passion of Anna. Do you know that one?
I
It's
don't
right
know
in the
that
middle
one.
of his career.
I don't know. I haven't watched it. I'm like
It's
Wild
pretty
Strawberries, Persona. That's
Okay,
I love
yeah,
Persona.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with
Yeah.
Persona. I watched The Passion of Anna, and it was really good.
Okay.
Super weird. The actors end up giving interviews to the camera as their characters, like in spurts throughout the film. Super interesting.
Yeah.
I just love how like performer based and focused Bergman is.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm thinking about right now. So
That's great. Yeah, and I know part of his style was that he took snapshots and he saw those pictures in telling the story. Like Persona has that. Like he saw the camera angles a certain way with the woman like behind the other woman.
yeah.
And he was like, we're gonna shoot it this way, even though it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, narratively it doesn't
Right,
make any sense.
right.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay.
very-
Now, what do those films that you said? What do you feel like how do they influence you? How do you feel about them? What do they say to you as a filmmaker?
I would say in the long run, I think a lot about directors. And in the long run, probably only 2 of the 3 had like lasting effects on me because of who directed them. Mike Nichols. I've been reading his biography lately and really nerding out about him. He's the guy who directed The Graduate and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Okay.
Both of those films he directed. He also directed this other film called Catch-22, which was awesome and like famously a flop because Orson Welles acted in it, and when he acted in it, he like took over directing, and there was like a mutiny on set.
Oh wow.
Anyway, Mike Nichols and Bergman both are a piece of what I would like to be on a film set, which is actor focused. Like I find acting and performance just eternally fascinating, and I could have a conversation about it, do scene work, do a film like forever. Even if nobody saw it, if like all that was happening was me getting to work with actors that are good and willing to take risks. I think both of those directors really embody that, and I really like watching their films because a lot of their films are very unique from each other. Like each project is really unique, but you can see where their priorities were consistent. And I think that is something I would like to embody in some way.
I love that.
At some point,
Is there anything specific to your childhood or how you grew up that you feel shapes your point of view? Or just,
maybe. I grew up really religious, and
I saw the lighting director.
Yeah. Wow, you did it. I grew up really religious. I'm not so much anymore.
I understand.
But
I relate.
Yeah. But my dad was and is still really big on empathy and like listening to a person, understanding their perspective, understanding where they're coming from. And I think that a focus on empathy and a focus on giving genuine attention and genuine time to someone else somehow morphed into loving performance, because that's what you're doing with a character as a performer, or even on a larger scale, that's what you and your performance are doing for the film. And I don't know, there's just like this really deep interconnectedness, and my religion growing up taught me that there's an interconnectedness to everything, and that like everything happens in religion for like a sovereign reason. But I think even if you remove the sovereignty, like there still is this level of like a universal happening that we're experiencing. And I think that getting, compressed down into a smaller scale on a film set or in a film itself probably is what, in some roundabout way, led me to where I am now. I don't know if that answers your question.
I feel like it does. And, we are in Nashville. And Nashville is like a Christian
Mecca.
Industrial Mecca. We're like shipping out the gospel records every 5 minutes, you know what I mean? And so, being kind of having maybe some angst toward, Christian life to some degree is we all to some level can relate to that. If it's not us, it's like someone else, you know what I mean, that we know. But I think that there's so much value in, having gone from per se one end of the spectrum to the other. There's a lot of growth in that. There's a lot of expansion in that. And to hop over into idiocies, which I would like for you to give an introduction about in a minute. I just see such a cool humanity in the grainy intention. I mean, obviously it's shot on film. And there's these perfect, unsuspecting things that make it in the film. Literally someone is just sitting there still and they go, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, and it flashes to the next shot, and it's
Yeah.
like someone's thumb is on the top of their cigarette box.
yeah, uh-huh.
It's like that level of detail. It has so much messaging in it, and I watched it again just to examine kind of like the humanity in it, you know. And obviously, I watched it first and thought I had figured out something, you know. I just was like, it's this, and then I was sent the poem, and I was like, what? No. And then I watched it again, and I was like, oh shoot, I love this. I thought it was so smart. I feel like I figured out something. But without going on and on, can you introduce the film or say what the film is about, and explain it maybe?
Yeah.
And then talk about where it came from.
Yeah. The film is about 4 friends at a bar talking about really pretentious stuff while like the final tiny vestiges of a romance end up serendipitously ending at that bar when this girl who has a history with one of the guys shows up and they see each other. I would say in like a condensed version, that's what the film is about. Where it came from, I think, is more interesting than the film itself. Like I said earlier, I read a lot, and there's this poet that one of my good friends introduced me to named B.H. Fairchild. He's still alive, so shout out to him.
Okay.
He writes prose poetry, which lately has been my favorite kind of poetry to read because it's the weird mixture of poetry and like flash fiction, like super short stories.
Yeah.
The language isn't necessarily overtly poetic, but what the piece is about is poetic. And I really like that. So I was just reading his book, and during COVID I was itching to write something that wasn't a feature because even though I've never made a feature, I've written several features. Well, I've never made a scripted feature, but there's something satisfying about writing a short film and finishing it. Like you get a boost from finishing something.
Yeah.
So I wanted to start writing a short film, and I just read this poem that's called The Cottonwood Lounge. And it was a poem by B.H. Fairchild, super short, like 2 pages. And it's a poem, you know, so there's a bunch of space everywhere. Like it's not even 2 pages worth of words.
Right.
And the idea of the 4 dudes at a table talking about what they're talking about, and a girl walking by, and the kind of like dream state or separation from time that happens in the film. Once you know what's going on, it's happening consistently, but the first time you watch it, you think it only is happening at the end. That kind of came from the tone of the poem, and it was interesting. I had the opportunity to show my film in front of an audience kind of recently, and I got to read the poem right before the film showed, and I was surprised at how much having the poem in your immediate memory affects the digestion of the film, to the point where I almost want to like resubmit my film to all the festivals that rejected me with just like title cards of the poem first. I'm not going to do that, but that desire welled up in me because I was so surprised, even for myself watching it, and having the poem in very recent memory. It was really moving. It was awesome.
I mean, there's so much, I think technically that, sorry, I touched my mic. This technically that just goes, it's like exponential in terms of like it's not basic by any stretch of the imagination. I'm so grateful for just, you know, the intentional unintentional aspect of it, and I got caught up in the depth of the poem, you know?
Yeah.
So that quote, I'll read it, that's at the top of the poem. It's like, it must follow that ever infinity is, in a way we cannot express, made finite to God.
Yeah.
It must follow that ever infinity is, in a way we cannot express, made finite to God.
Yeah.
And then in the poem, you know, there's a reference to the Coronas
Yeah.
lined up on the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the idea that, you know, the table is kind of like finite.
Space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But when you line them up, you could see it infinitely. Like this
Yeah.
line could go on forever.
Yeah.
And I don't want, I could go down like
Me too.
so many things. But I appreciated this psychological portrayal, you know, in this moment that's, you know, it's in the poem in a very mundane way, which I think the poem is masterful. Like he just talks about like, you know,
Dudes hanging out.
guys drinking tomato juice and beer at
Yeah,
the bar,
yeah.
you know? And so you kind of get this feeling like there's going to be an explosion or something, you know,
Sure.
because of the I don't know, I won't say profound, but it's just like, maybe it's just like a full kind of stillness,
Sure. Yeah.
you know? And there's just so much expectation. But I'll say this, prior to reading the poem, I was trying to figure out the girl at the beginning. I was like, oh, this is about a relationship, you know? And then I'm like, idiocies. Oh, there's a lot of mistakes he's made.
Yeah.
I didn't get that the relationship was over when she got there, but I got that there was all of this regret, like just from the stillness, like, and it's guys in a bar. Like I got that she says the line at the opening, he just wanted to prove that he had dated me once.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. Like as soon as it starts, I'm like, let's go.
My
you know?
ex actually said that to me.
I was curious
Yeah.
because of there's a perfection to the love story in this, to me. Like, I don't think anyone who's trying to be deep or who's trying to just like watch the film just goes love story.
Yeah.
Because there's moments it seems like your subconscious and your memory is being portrayed. Like there's still pictures that are being portrayed, and you have to really look into the pictures because they're a little blurry. They're black and white,
abstract,
you know, but you can see her knees on the bed at one
Yeah.
point. Like you get into it and you're like, now is this his memory via the conversation the guys are having? And is it just a reflection of something that once was, maybe he's longing for? Like I just
Yeah.
had this whole esoteric, I don't know, thing.
I'm flattered.
But I mean, yeah, I'm a talker, so I could go on and on. But I'll just say, in reference to the personal aspect, did this film come from the need to like represent something personal like that? Or I mean, I know you talked about the poem, I know you talked about reading, but was there a need, like in a present way, to say, I've had this experience?
No.
Okay.
But I do think that I, either because of who I am or the kind of work I would like to make, I personally can't get away from my projects being very personal, either on accident or on purpose. For example, putting in the line that opens the film was very much on purpose, because my ex actually said that to me. We were like on a date at this picnic, and I was like filming her and, you know, like trying to be cheesy, like filming stuff like, what are we doing? What are we up to? Where are we? Like interviewing her or whatever. And she got really uncomfortable, just in like an awkward I'm on camera way, not like,
Yeah.
and she just looks at the camera and is trying to be cheeky, and she's like, he just wants to prove that he dated me at one point, to the camera. And I don't know why, but writing the script, that like line came up to me, and I was like, man, that's like kind of savage.
Yeah.
It was funny in the moment, but like looking back, I don't know. So stuff like that I'm purposely putting in to make it personal, I'm almost trying to like implicate myself. I don't want I don't want to get on set. I don't want to involve people because I can't do it alone without even showing them in the content, whether they realize it or not, that I am putting my complete self into it.
Okay.
That being said, what you're talking about with the intentional unintentionality, which I really like that turn of phrase, that mostly in this case came from the team that I had. My cinematographer, Jason Hassel, did a good job of trying to manifesting the simplicity with which I wanted to shoot it. And we ended up running into technical issues because of mathematical mistakes that I made in regards to shooting on film. And I had to adapt the entire script. I essentially rewrote the script on the set, and he adapted to that quickly and was able to keep the style consistent. But my hero on that film was my editor. His name is Josh Jardim. We were in post on that film for like 10 months, and it was supposed to be a really straightforward edit. There was always going to be like a weird montage in it, but it wasn't supposed to be what it ended up being. Because of a lot of things, the footage ended up not being what I wanted it to be, especially when comparing it to what was written on the page versus what was shot. So I essentially shoved a bunch of footage at my editor with like a rough idea of where I would like it to go. And we tried all of my ideas and they all sucked so bad. And I was just like, dude, I'm like kind of strapped for ideas. You like let's start from scratch. And then that's where I feel like the film as it is now was born. Like the film repeats shots a lot, like setups. I mean, it's literally the same take because like you said, we were shooting on film. So some of the stuff that you see in the film is the only take of that setup that we actually recorded on. And so on one end, we have no option but to use the same shots over and over because it's all we have.
Right.
But on the other side, Josh was able to make something really interesting and evocative happen with that limitation, and then incorporating the photos that we did. I don't know, it just ended up being really reminiscent of a lot of filmmakers that I love, but in a new way that felt personal to me because, like I said, I was implicating myself. So the film, from my perspective, is like a complete accident how it turned out the way it did. But I'm grateful for, like I said, the team that I had that was able to make that happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I couldn't have done it without them.
I mean, it goes without saying, the cinematography is a character. You know, it is a language that we absolutely need.
Yeah.
And I was celebrating that immediately. Like it was just great. It's different, but it just had a natural way of keeping you interested. Just even these moments where they're closing in on the ear.
Yeah.
I love that. I loved it. I mean, just the movement down to the hands while this person is going from what was a voiceover into actually saying the thoughts. And then everything matters, to someone who's making art or you have to almost be disarmed as you watch this unfold. There's an intention to that, and so it's interesting to me to get to, as an audience member, just kind of like partner with that creative mind and go down, and learn something about life from it, or just like process my own story. So anyway, no, it's great. Now, you shot it on film. Now, why did you decide to do that?
Mostly because my day job is at a camera house.
Okay.
In town, and I'd always wanted to shoot on film, and I'd never had access to the equipment that you need to make that happen. And at that point in time, and still now, I did find myself having access to a film camera, and So that got me wanting to find out if I could do it.
Yeah.
Found out that it's like obscenely expensive
Yeah.
to shoot on film, and most of that cost is from the film stock itself, not necessarily from the equipment. And then I reached out to some old professors, one old professor actually, who I remembered in school having mentioned that he was shooting on film a lot and that he had a bunch of it in his garage. So I hit him up, and I had been at 3 years, something like that. And I told him, like, I'm shooting on 16 millimeter.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering if you had any like old expired film in your garage that you'd be willing to donate to me. And the answer was yes, but he also wanted to read the script and like meet up with me to talk about it and,
Of
you know,
course.
like make me earn it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I was
love
happy to do that because he's like a really sweet guy, total geeky,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
nerdy guy. So
Yeah.
he just kind of wanted to nerd out.
Yeah.
But he gave me a couple rolls of film that actually doesn't even exist anymore. It was Fujifilm stock, which isn't being manufactured anymore, only Kodak now. So that was cool. All of the like montage-y stuff with the couple we shot on that film that was expired. The rest of it I got from other friends and just from buying rolls of Kodak to shoot
Yeah.
the meat of the film.
Okay.
So yeah, the biggest reason I shot that project on film was just because I found myself in a position with, you know, the tools that I needed, the personnel that I needed,
Yeah.
and like a credit card that had enough room on it, and we just did it.
There
you
we
know?
go.
And it was fun. It was really stressful. Like I said, I made a mistake. I thought that we had more unshot film than we actually did.
Okay.
So, like 2 or 3 takes into the day, Jason, my DP, looks over at me and he says, "Just so you know, we just shot half of the film that we have to shoot for the day." And we had like 20 more setups to go, and we had only done 2. So I was like, the math isn't mathing.
That's right. That's right.
So-
make it make sense.
Yeah, exactly. So I broke everyone early for lunch and like went into the back and cried a little bit, and then like basically, like I said, rewrote the script. So that part of it was stressful because it's you can hear the film going, and every time you hear that camera make a sound,
Yeah.
that's like dollars. And it's like a real physical manifestation
right.
of like money being spent.
Mhm.
So you have that, but it also brings this really nice pressure to the set because of that awareness, the financial awareness, but also it's kind of like a rare opportunity now. It's not rare, but it's not as normal as it used to be.
Right. Right. Right.
So that kind of elevated
The stakes.
pressure,
Yeah.
was really exciting too, because we would rehearse a take 7 times
Yeah.
and roll on it once.
Yeah.
And we would get 2 good rehearsals to be at the point where we're like, okay, we're gonna roll on this one. And you can just feel everyone kind of like, all right, like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the one to mess this
That's
up.
right.
Are you going to be the one to mess this up? You know, kind of energy, which I
Yeah.
found really exciting and energizing, but,
Yeah, for sure.
but also horrifically stressful and expensive.
No, I get it. I mean, that's a good energy to me on set, though.
Yeah, I
You
think
know.
so too. You want everybody to be operating at a high level.
That's right. And it unifies everyone
Yeah,
in a very important way. you
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
So I love that.
for sure.
The sound.
Uh-huh.
We got to talk about the sound, just simply because, and I don't want to go on and wear you out. Just but I took note of the sound and how, you know, obviously with film, it's almost like you're in an 80s, 90s docu style,
Uh-huh.
you know, situation, because the performances are just so raw and just so present and honest. But then to hear the dialogue so forward, and then you're hearing like traffic behind the girl, you know, and it's like, is she in New York? Where is she? We don't know. And then even the background noise with the guys in the bar,
Uh-huh.
you know, it's like, is it that bustly? We don't know, you know. But
Yeah.
then to get to the end as well, and then just that rhythm, that meter when the pictures are
voices are
rolling out.
repeating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was just, I thought the sound and the soundtrack across the board was a movie in itself.
Thank you.
Like, it was really cool. And you end with Moody's Mood for Love. Like, get me out of here. Like, I was just, it was crazy. Can you talk about the sound a little bit?
Yeah.
You were supposed to talk more than me. I'm
No,
going
no, no.
in.
It's cool. It's cool.
Right.
I like I said, I got to see it screened in like a theater recently, and seeing it on a big screen was really cool.
Yeah.
But hearing it in surround sound,
Yeah.
like really loud, was awesome.
I know it.
And Josh, my editor, also did all of the sound editing and sound designing. I gave him some ideas. I did a couple like little tiny things. The traffic you mentioned is actually trains passing, not cars honking.
Okay.
That's from my childhood. Like trains is like a comfort thing. Like I love lying in bed and trying to fall asleep and then hearing a train.
Nice.
So that,
Yeah.
but that's irrelevant. The sound, I think sound is just as, if not more exciting than visuals in cinema. And I am a very visual person. But like music
Yeah.
is so good.
Yeah.
So much, it's like the perfect art form.
Yeah.
And getting even to tease the idea of musicality with the soundtrack of a film that doesn't have that much music in it besides a really abstractly sampled soul song
Yeah.
was really exciting. The way that the voices repeat at the end ended up being kind of a manifestation of what the guys are talking about, with a moment happening in time, and that moment causing ripples and waves to go out from it, so that if you're in any other point in time, you're feeling the waves of a moment that has happened already, whether it's a memory or emotional memory or whatever. So the repetition of the lines and words that are being said is in some way kind of a manifestation of that idea of like a repetition of a singular moment happening again and again, maybe in a distorted or less clear way.
Yeah.
But that was really fun to hear, because again, like I said with Josh, I kind of reached a point where I just was like, dude, like, save me.
Yeah.
And just one cut that I got at like 1 a.m. and didn't watch until the next morning because I was too sleepy, that he just had done that. We hadn't talked about it. He didn't like warn me that he did that. I'm just watching it and it just starts and I'm like,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And it just was like, it was awesome.
How much in your rewriting did you keep the characters in the poem in mind of what was happening? Like, did you make a decision that this is Campbell?
Yeah.
And you were like, and I'm going to keep, this narrative, about him.
Yeah, I tried to a little bit, just to help there be like some kind of consistent structure between the poem and the film.
Okay.
Funny enough, there were in the book that poem is in, there are a lot of other poems where he mentions Ira Campbell, which is a reoccurring character for him. So it was cool to also use those poems as like research for Taylor Novak, who played that character, to kind of give him more like, hey, this was an actual dude, some friend of his, of the poets. Here's some more really beautiful poems about this character that might, affect your performance or your approach.
Okay.
Which was cool. But I wasn't like actively like being really stringent with it. I just kind of took the structure of the four dudes that have known each other for a long time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna nerd out a little bit and then we'll do like a little quick five thing.
Okay.
But so a nerd out moment, he lines the cans up on the table and he says, what if time is just laying a track behind you?
Yeah, his experience as a track being laid behind you, yeah.
And this is after the other guy says, well, every moment is tacked by where it begins.
Yeah.
So like, I'm already, let's go. Where's Plato and Socrates? Like, let's do this. So he pulls the center can out of the line of cans.
Yeah.
After we've already decided we're looking at like infinity.
Yeah.
And then you see the wetness from the can.
Yeah.
Like the track.
Yes, yeah.
Get out of here. like I just, that's a high for me. That's a high for me just to like I felt all of that was like intentional, and like, how did you do that? You know, that's one nerd out moment. I just had to bring it up.
Thank you. Yeah.
And then this is a slight nerd out moment where, I don't know what his character name would be, but he is to the left of Taylor Novak.
Yeah.
Ira Campbell, but he's the guy. He's the one who brought up each moment being tagged.
Yeah, he does most of the talking. Yeah.
Yes, but he's speaking in the present, and and the sound goes into, just for a second, into a thought mode.
Yeah.
And we're back, and he's in the present. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I should know more clearly, but I just remember being like, "Get out of here!" You know, I liked that we were playing along this line of being present with the conversation. Like I said, the psychological portrayal, you know, was so cool. And then to get into these images, which is maybe my third nerd out moment, is like these images and the sounds really felt like a great depiction of memory and subconscious. You know, even they were brought up in some way, you know, but it was just this really cool thing. And I thought, oh, we're going to go out of here and this is an art film. But it didn't just go out like that. You know, to see the girl coming, like, I was like, get out of here, you know, just, I mean, the creativity is really what I'm celebrating, you know, and I really appreciate the intentional aspect of that. And
Thank you. It's very kind of you.
Yeah, no, I mean, kudos to you and the team. No doubt that's like a lot of brilliant people in the
You're the
same
first
room.
person to catch the water trail. That was completely intentional.
Oh no, I was
on the tabletop.
It had to be. To me, it had to be intentional.
Yeah.
Just, well, the thick of the conversation at that point could have gotten lost because it's a poem. You know, we can all just let it be deep.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's also a short film. I keep telling people this, not to justify my own work, but the 48-hour film festival just happened in town. I had a lot of friends that were involved either in a creative way or in a technical way with a lot of the projects that were made. Short films are so hard to make. Not even in the logistical sense, just in the artistic, cinematic sense. Like, your inclination is to make it really dense so that it's worth people's time, or to make it really complete because it's a film and it should be complete. But it's so difficult to make a moving project that is, you know, I feel like 25 minutes is like a kind of long short film. Not too long, but like you're getting into a different kind of short film at that point.
Yeah.
But like the 48-hour films or my film, like under 10 minutes, that's it. In my opinion, it becomes something different than a film. It's like a,
Right.
I don't know. It's just, it's inherently more abstract because you don't have the time to complete a character arc. You don't have the time to introduce a plot with points.
Right.
And in my opinion, that makes it more interesting. It can be more like voyeuristic, like you're just existing with someone while they're going throughout their day. Or, you know, a lot of really famous short films are either like really abstract and you have no idea what is going on at all at any moment, but you finish it and you're like, yo, that was cool.
Yeah.
Or there's other ones that are really rich in emotion, which that is probably the way to do it. I don't know. I still feel like I'm figuring out. I don't think I will ever completely figure out how to make a good short film, because it really, despite it being shorter in duration, your opportunities of what is allowed is just opens up. Because with feature films, the audience has an expectation.
Right.
You know, a journey with a character, a plot that you can follow.
Right.
You know, emotional moments, whatever.
Right.
Action. With a short film, it's like every time you watch a short film, you're starting from zero.
Yeah.
Like there's this great short film he made a lot of really great films. He made Birth with Nicole Kidman. He made Under the Skin with
I saw
Scarlett
Birth.
Johansson.
Yeah.
He has a new film coming out called The Zone of Interest about this like Nazi general. He's a genius director, but he made this short film called The Fall. And there's no words in it. It's like 7 minutes long, and it's about these dudes who are a cult, I guess. They have like masks, and there's one guy that's trapped up in a tree, and everyone else is at the bottom shaking the tree, trying to get him to fall. This really intense music is happening the whole time. The kid falls, you can't see his face. They all kind of like post up like they're about to beat the shit out of him and like take a picture. And then it cuts to him standing on this pedestal. They put a noose around his neck, and then they pull a lever and he falls down what looks like a well.
Yeah.
And the camera is just watching the rope that's around his neck running over the beam where he should be hanging from, and it's just perpetually running. The rope is just perpetually running out, and the camera is just pushing towards him. It's like a 3-minute shot. Nothing is happening. And then you cut to the inside of the well, and you see the kid has like propped himself up in the well to stop falling. And he's trying to get the noose off of his neck and gets the rope off of his neck, pulls it. You see the end of the rope fall. It misses him. It doesn't hit him. And now he's just shimmying up this hole. And they give you a shot where you can see that it's like thousands of feet up that he has to climb. You can see a little speck of light at the top. And then the film ends. There's like a story structure to that,
That's
obviously, but there like that could not be a feature film.
Yeah, it's almost an allegory.
Yeah, it can be allegorical, or it's just like mind-boggling and confusing, and then it's done.
Yeah.
And like you can't do that with a feature. You would get like ostracized.
Yeah, for
Which
sure.
some people do, obviously.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like the expectations of a short film are blown out of the water. I've shown so many friends that film that have all kinds of different tastes.
Right.
And for some reason that short film always works for them because you have suspense, you have mystery, you have artistic intrigue with the idea of what's going on. You know, it's short films are so difficult. I say all that to say, like the medium itself, and even short films specifically, is something that I think is like uncrackable, infinite possibilities.
I love that. I think that's why I love short films, because it's basically like an hors d'oeuvre in a way. It's it's a bite, and it could be really great.
Yeah.
Or you could be like, I don't have to have that again.
Yeah.
One of the rules I have for my favorite films is that, can I study it? Can I watch it again and find something else? Can I feel it again? Can I see something technical I didn't see before? You know, it's just like, so that's my nerd out thing. And in this film, you know, I thought even the first time, I was like, I know what it is. Once we got to the pictures at the end, I thought I knew, right? In some way.
Yeah.
I think maybe my ego and like wanting to be intellectual with you, I was like, I've got it figured out. But coming back to it again, it's beautiful. It feels even more nice again, you know, and then to get the poem and then go, oh my gosh, you know, just, it's really a stunning work to me.
Thank you.
Know, even though you're like, this was an accident. I'm like, well, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, universe.
Yeah, that's right. Let's do our quick fast five.
Okay.
They're very simple. Okay. So classic or modern?
Modern.
Stream or festival?
Oh gosh, none. A festival, probably.
Okay. Pre-production or post-production?
Pre-production.
Feature or series?
Feature.
Art or money?
Art.
Boom. Okay. That was easy. Quick, fast five.
Trying to keep
You
it
made
fast.
it easy. Okay, so you said you had a future project in the works.
Yeah.
Mention that again.
It's a metafictional film.
Mm-hmm.
It's an art film is getting made about these two painters that are finishing a project for a show, and then eventually you realize that what you're watching is a film that's being made, and the director comes in, and you discover through the happenings of the film that he's completely incompetent at what he's doing. There's an older man and a younger man that are playing the two actors in the film within the film that end up educating the director of their incompetence, and yeah, you just basically watch an art film like crumble before your eyes, which is a attractive idea to me. I'm playing the director in the film, which will be fun because I'm
Nice.
also actually directing it, and I also wrote the script and writing monologues for actors that I respect to yell at me playing a version of myself on screen about things that I actually am deeply self-conscious about. Seems like it's going to be really fun. It's going to be like a really expensive therapy session.
That's right. And you'll have a bookmark for all time.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
go back and be like, I was uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun. It's the funniest thing I've ever written. I really love laughing. I love making people laugh, and none of my films really do that. And I'm gonna see if I can maybe do that with this one.
Okay.
Try and have a little bit of comedy in there.
Nice.
I'm
Nice.
still trying to figure out like what kind of film is the best kind for me to make. Like what can I pull off, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, you have a cool mind.
Thank you.
So, you know, you might have a genre of your own, you know. So just do everything you think of. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. Yeah.
I'll be a PA if you need. You know what I'm saying? I'll do whatever. How can we find you? Where can we access you? Do you have other projects? I know Go Forget Me. You know,
Yeah.
I saw A Crack in the Robin's Egg is mentioned. You know what I mean? I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I don't even know how to pronounce Erodera.
You did it.
Did I? Is
Yeah, that
right?
was a school film that I removed from Vimeo. I hope nobody ever sees it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a link like go watch it here, and I was like, I'm coming back to
Where?
watch this. It's on LinkedIn.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I didn't even remember that I had LinkedIn.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
I know. I deleted mine.
I'm about to delete mine.
But so yeah, how can we find you?
Most of my films are on Vimeo. Idiocies will be on the Short Film Collective.
Right.
I have a feature film that I'm waiting to hear back from festivals on that I'm sure I will just end up internet releasing because it's a really weird film. I made it all by myself for like $300. It's called The Hatred of Cinema. And once I get all of those rejections, I'll probably put that on the internet because it's like a film that belongs on the internet, I think, kind of. Yeah, I'll either be posting it on Vimeo. I'm on Instagram much more than I am active posting on Instagram.
Okay.
But I love having conversations about film, so if you ever like watch something you want to talk about, just hit me up.
Oh, don't start it, cause you'll be like, this guy doesn't stop. No one talks to me about. I just go.
I'm down.
Let's go. Okay.
You already stalked me.
That's
Might
right.
as well
That's
DM
right.
me.
I know. I'm like, who's this saxophone guy? This is our last question.
Okay.
What do short films? Well, it's two in one. What do short films mean to you, and how have short films played a role in your career?
Well, short films, the role that they've played is that's all that I've made, really. So I would say that it's a entirely formative role. What they mean to me, I think I kind of touched on before. It's exciting to have a medium where it feels like all of the rules in an art form that typically is dominated by rules and more so dominated by capital. For some reason, everyone kind of agrees that you can make a short film in any style, about anything, shot in any way, sound mixed in any way, and somehow justify it as a good project if it ends up connecting or affecting people in any way. And I think that is an exciting medium to be a part of.
Yeah.
Because you asked classical or modern earlier, I see the value in both. I really like rhythms and patterns and like ate the same thing for breakfast every day,
Right.
that kind of thing. But I also love like this horrifically undefined time that we exist in with like AI creating films and creating images now, and it like everything that we thought we had defined is being actively dismantled by things that we created, and like that chaotic energy also is really exciting to me. And I think it's cool to have found a medium and to be a part of a community in this town and in other cities just on the internet where like all the rules can somehow simultaneously exist and be followed, or just totally thrown out the window. And I think short films mean a lot to me in that sense, that it's like absolute creative control, absolute creative freedom to do anything that you want to about anything that you want to. I think that that's really empowering for the creator.
Man, it's clear your point of view is needed in the industry, not just the industry, but just on the planet. Because I feel like, there's so much ego in art now.
Yeah.
And obviously, the ideas of success are always directly connected to money and visibility.
Yeah.
But I really do appreciate, I think it's built into your background, the humility that's there, even in your own pacing with yourself. It's like you could be trying to show off everything right now, but you're like, but I care about how this is to me.
Yeah.
And you don't have to like it because I know what I need to say and how to stick to my guns.
Yeah.
And that's a type of centeredness I think we need from artists, especially, certain amount of like advocacy to some level. So anyway, thank you for being just cool, just being refreshing. John Theo, the one to look for forever. Man.
Thank you for being so kind.
No, you're amazing. This is great. And what is your Instagram handle? You want people to find you?
Yeah, it's just my name, John with an H, A Theo, Theo.
Boom.
Yeah.
You heard it. John Theo, director of Idiocies. Go on the TSFC, theshortfilmcollective.com website and watch Idiocies 1 million times. And let's get this guy like $1 million budget. Dude. Put me as an extra. So no. But thank you, man. This is dope.
Thank you.
This is
Thank you.
dope.
It was awesome.